So I'm new to investing, just getting started. I have about $5,000 that I want to invest. Should I go Roth or traditional IRA?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I told you I'm going to get you out of the tax comfort zone, but I know you guys still have
buy
some
a
good.
safe, put it in your floor. No, he would do.
No, Charlie, no, bad. Again, Charlie and I differ in our opinions, right? And so Charlie might put it under his mattress. I would not. So this can be a really lengthy subject, but let's try and boil it down so that we can just give you the best quick answer that we can, because the easiest answer is it depends, but I'm not going to leave you with that. So if you've got $5,000 that you want to invest, and Clark, I'm sure you picked that number deliberately, right? Because there are annual contribution limits to a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA. You can only contribute so much.
Right.
It's also important to note that there are income levels that stop you from being able to contribute to these accounts in some cases. I'm not going to dive into the nature of these accounts. So just for our answer today, let's assume that you already know all that and that you qualify. And you're really just trying to decide traditional or Roth.
Right.
Oh, Clark, this question. Okay. Again, I'll try and make it as quick as I can, but this is really complex. The traditional IRA, the benefit is that you put the $5,000 in, and then you get tax savings from putting that $5,000 in. You get to write that off right away. Yes, exactly. Year one, you put that money in, and you get the tax savings right away.
Like return on investment year one.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely. So the higher tax bracket that you're in, the more valuable that is to you. If you're in a 10 or a 12% tax bracket, contributing to a traditional IRA probably is not ideal, right? Because you're only getting so much back on that. However, if you put the $5,000 in a Roth IRA, the Roth IRA is very different. Roth IRA says, too bad, so sad. You still got to pay taxes on the money. So you took the $5,000, you put it in a traditional IRA, you get to deduct that. But the Roth says, no, you don't get to deduct that. You still have to pay taxes on the whole $5,000 that you earned in that scenario.
Right.
And you don't get to write it off. You're going to pay the taxes on all of it. Well, that's a raw deal. Except then the money in both of these accounts, by the way, these are what are called tax deferred accounts, which means the money over the length of these accounts' lifetime, that money is not taxed as it goes up and down and up and down and up and down.
As long as it stays inside the
Yep.
account. So
Yep.
market goes up, market goes down, you get dividends, you get interest, you're not having to report any of that ever while it's inside.
Absolutely. And so I asked clients, did you sell any stock this year? Yes, I did. Well, okay, we might have to have tax documents in regards to that. Well, it was in my IRA. Oh, well, no, never mind. We don't need tax documents. You're not going to get tax documents. It all happens behind this tax deferred account, which is great because the more money that you have in that account, the more it's going to grow for you. But the more tax you pay, the less money you have in the account, right? The less money you have in the account, the less it grows for you. So the nature of compounding interest is in favor of the traditional IRAs because we all have a finite amount of money. We only have so much. And so there's only so much you can afford to put in these retirement accounts. And so in that way, you can put more. You can usually afford to put more in the traditional IRA because you save more on taxes day one, right? Right away, you save more on taxes.
Right, so if you could put $4,500 into the Roth IRA, but you could put $5,000 because you could add immediate deduction. That's something that Kevin has very kindly taught me on was just the concept of
principal investing power.
That one.
The more capital you have to invest, the more money that can earn you in the long run.
Correct.
So traditional is starting to look pretty good, right? Until we start talking about the benefits of the Roth. Now the Roth, the tax benefits are big time, but they're not now. They're not right away. You got to wait for your benefits. Tax deferred all throughout. If you meet two rules, then you get the benefit. And I'll explain the benefit in a second. First, you have to attain the age of 59 and a half. That's rule number one. You got to attain the age of 59 and a half. Number two, the account has to have been open for at least 5 years. If you open the account when you were 57, it's not going to fly. You got to wait a little longer. It's got to be open at least 5 years, and you have to attain the age of 59 and a half. Assuming you meet both of those requirements, distributions from your Roth IRA are tax-free. $0 of tax. Now, the traditional IRA, you put the money in, you get the tax break. It's tax deferred all throughout the years. Now you're 59 and a half and you take money out. You have to pay income tax like regular on this money. Now remember, you got to deduct it up front. So if you were in a 32% tax bracket up front, right, you put the money in, you get the write-off. And then when you're 59 and a half or 60 or 70, right, retirement age, you take the money out, and let's say you're in a 22% tax bracket or even a 12% tax bracket. You're saving a ton in comparison, and that's fantastic. You also had more money in this account than you had in the Roth because you had more money to be able to put in there because you saved money up front from the traditional IRA, right? You tracking with this, right? You seeing how this works? But the Roth, man, oh my gosh. So
retirement planning for your portfolio, maybe not everything in, but having a piece of this that you can plan on to distribute when you need, as you need, etc., that you're not paying any taxes on, can help keep your other income at that lower tax rate. And so it's difficult to say which is better, because in the answer of it depends on you. It depends on how you feel, right, about getting deduction now versus not. But also it depends on your retirement plan, how it's structured and what it's going to end up being. Nobody has a crystal ball.
Yeah.
But having that retirement plan to say, we're going to do this, and this, working backwards would help you dictate what is going to be the right thing.
Yeah, and so let me just leave you with some numbers on this answer to help put it into perspective. The traditional IRA, I put $100,000 into over the course of my life, and by the time I'm 70, when I want to take some of it out, it's now $500,000. Okay, that's depending on when you put the money in. That is very reasonable rate of return over an extended period of time, right? Let's say I started in my early 20s. That's very reasonable that money would be $500,000 by the time that I'm ready to take it out. And so I'm not going to take it all at once, but let's say I'm going to start taking money out. Every dollar of that is taxed. Every dollar. No matter what. So I will take out that money over the course of my life, hopefully leave some of it to my kids, but I'm going to pay taxes on all of it. Now let's use the same example with a Roth IRA. Let's say that I put in $80,000 over the course of my life. I got to put in less because I have less money because the traditional IRA saves me money up front. So I put in $80,000, and that's $450,000 by the time I'm ready to retire and I start taking money out of it. I don't pay a dime of tax on any of that $450,000. None. I can take it all out day one and just put it in my savings account. Now you should not do that, but because you could and not pay a dime of tax. And so the Roth, for people who are future oriented, is very attractive. For people who are, I need to worry about my finances right now, and all of us do, right? But for the people who just really only have so much right now to be able to contribute, oftentimes gravitate toward the traditional IRA.
I'm going to do a small, quick plug in this and just how the pulling money out works. There was a individual, and it was a very frustrating pain point for this individual. I could see it easily being translated to a lot of other folks. Is you invest when you're inside of these accounts. There's different things that you have. Let's just pick easy ones: Google stock, Amazon stock, right? You're invested. Sometimes investments go up. That's the plan. Sometimes they can go down. If you have a very large portfolio and there is a downturn, there was an individual who tried to pull the money out to capitalize on that downturn. Sadly, what happens is it does not matter the performance of the retirement account. When $1 crosses the line, that dollar has its own tax treatment. The account could have gone from $500,000, please never happen, down to $200,000, and you pull that $200,000 out. You have $200,000 of income if you have to claim it.
Yeah, you don't have a loss. You don't get a deductible loss.
Nothing.
Yes, you lost money.
Correct.
And we recognize that that's the case, but it was tax deferred the whole time.
Correct.
Which means you never recognized it as income, which means tax-wise, you're not experiencing a loss. Correct. That $200,000 is all gain.
Yeah. Right. So it's just a thought out there to have that piece in, because there was that memorable thing for me that I went through. It was even emotional at that time to explain this is how it actually works. So just in case, that's how that while we're talking about IRAs.
Yeah.